it's time for our players to mount up, because game one is imminent. It's back to Zeke and the gang. We can't wait to hit the show on the road.
I mean, guys, for y'all at home, can you not feel it? This stage is electric. The audience here already, they continue to pour in. They're excited to see some of the action. So let's kind of talk about what we're going to be seeing here this weekend. They are all here fighting for a title, global champions. There's only been one other duo to do that in Cooper and Miro. So all of these duos have already seen what that looks like. They've seen the prestige that comes with that. And now they're all thinking the same thing. I want that.
I mean, what an incredible moment that was last year. And the interview that we got from Miro and Cooper just really resonated with so many people around the world. So many people that want to be on this stage one day.
Yeah, it just showed us what it really meant to be a global champion. We hadn't had that before, right? That was our first global champions crowned, and you could tell how much it meant to both of those guys. The interviews you mentioned was absolutely fantastic.
Ooh.
Now, though, it's a different landscape for Cooper, of course, no longer playing with Miro, who, because the competition is so fierce, he hasn't actually qualified here today.
Bro, let's put my fucking hoodie on upside down, bro. I'm a fucking...
This duo do, of course, landing at the Nitrodrome in the middle of the map. I was speaking to Cooper a little bit, and he was like, I'm a little bit nervous we could get landed on. Teeny and Chap could be shaping up to go there, but right now they're in the center of the map. They have a good strategy. They're playing well, and with the experience of Canada, who hasn't missed an FNCS final, by the way, they should be on for a winner.
I mean, as soon as they
Looks fucking dumb.
grab the third place spot in Major 2, and even in Major 3, where their main strategy was taken out of the game the day before the grand finals, they were still able to clutch up a 14th place. Canada is one of the smartest IGLs to ever be in Fortnite, and paired up with Cooper, who is one of the most insane in-game players, I cannot wait to see them compete here on this stage.
Absolutely disgusting. I mean, when we just think about them in the year, and it's not just them, right? We've got 50 duos to talk about. Let's bring up that lobby list and take a look at our first 25. We're just gonna put this up on screen, and there's so many different names to discuss. Yeah, I'm just gonna pick a kind of a random name from this lobby list. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this duo before. I don't know, Clicks and Veno.
Yeah, I think the audience has heard of it.
They have some fans.
Yeah.
Clicks and Veno, I don't think there has been a better story than this duo forming in Major 3 when we saw so many players from around the world migrating for that last chance to be able to claim their spot on the global stage. And when Veno joined Clicks, he said, I want to give Clicks his first FNCS win ever. And a lot of us thought he was talking about Major 3. I think he was talking about the global championships.
Yeah, and I think Clicks is the perfect teammate for Veno. Veno needs someone that's just going to listen, that's just going to follow his tasks, just going to follow his lead. And I think Clicks in this lobby right now is probably one of, if not the best player at doing that, following, listening, whilst also bringing some fragging power as well. Now, of course, they're landing down there at Sandy Steps. Originally, we thought they were going to be uncontested. Damo and Resigns actually literally told us on the Dropspot podcast that we actually might be able to land on them. So Clicks and Veno may be contested today, which could play into their favor, getting that early storm surge damage to then go to that forecast tower, but we're not too sure how that's going to play out because it took us by storm, really.
If there is any duo to be able to handle a wrench thrown in their plans, it is this duo right here. We saw how well they performed day 1 in Major 3, then day 2 things change up. They still got 4th place. We look at the most recent Cash Cup finals where Peterbot and Poyo are taking their forecast tower over and over again, and they still get 3rd. This duo cannot be stopped.
Yeah, they are absolutely incredible. And I think that is going to be a key element to their success, right? Is how can they make it off-spawn? What's that off-spawn situation going to look like? Are they going to go for that forecast tower? Because we know that Peterbot and Poyo like to go down to that south area to try and get it. It's so valuable as well. In this no mobility meta, knowing where those future zones are, it's a prize worth fighting for.
And speaking of Peterbot and Poyo, I love the drama that has evolved over this season between these two duos. I think a lot of us are excited to see how this face-off is going to handle.
I know he's been pretty vocal about it, right? What kind of sparked this whole thing? I mean, do we expect it to go a certain way, or what do you think?
I'm intrigued. I think it's one of those situations where both teams have very similar players. You have Veno and Peterbot who play a very similar role. They're sort of the IGL fragger. They like to lead. They like to have their teammate in their back pocket, following them at all times, playing hip to hip in endgame, whilst also themselves picking up some refreshes and eliminations. Gonna be so crucial, that forecast tower fight though, because that's like 2 Titan teams, 2 big names that already have a little bit of history that are going head to head. I mean, that's really where we're going to be focusing in on.
I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of people that can pinpoint the exact moment, but I just remember Peterbot chasing Clicks into the water very, very far, and that might have been where really the big rivalry started there. But honestly, it's because they're two of the best teams, both in North America. They want to claim that spot as the best in the world, so why wouldn't there be a rivalry?
That's right, and I mean, you got to think and be excited for Clicks and Veno, right? You heard the audience here absolutely cheering their name, and the fact that, you know, Veno recently got picked up by Exit. This is a big weekend for the duo. Can you maybe tap into maybe what they're feeling? How are these guys looking?
Ooh, Clicks and Veno, how they're feeling right now. I think, you know, obviously being contested kind of last minute might be a little bit nerve-wracking, but again, this is Veno, who is one of the most experienced players in the world. He got second place at the Invitational. He's a multi-FNCS winner. If anyone can handle pressure, it's him.
And Clicks hasn't won an FNCS yet. I know a lot of people in this building, particularly the crowd over there, they were screaming his name. They wanted to see him. I think they'll be vying for him to get his first FNCS title. He will as well. And I think, to be honest, there's no better partner than Veno to take him to that crown, because Veno has won it all. He's done so well in online FNCSs at the Invitational. He had a really, really good tournament, of course, as well, all the way down to the last game. He is just a serial winner, right, Veno? He knows what he's doing. And as long as Clicks can play well, as long as Veno can lead well, I'm expecting big things from these guys.
And you're talking about the face-off there. I mean, Peterbot has ridiculous aim, but there was a bloom battle that happened in the most recent Cash Cup with Veno and Peterbot, and Veno came out on top.
Interesting, interesting. Well, guess what, Fortnite fans? We actually have Adam Savage, who is standing by with Clicks and Peterbot.
I really am right now next to Peterbot and Clicks, as you can see. Fellas, just for a second, put down the pickaxes. Just relax for a second, okay? This rivalry, just chill. We've got two great competitors here, eager to get out there on the main stage. Clicks, I come to you first, dude. It's been a road to get here. You know, you and Veno are looking strong. How are you feeling going into this global championships? Everyone out there screaming your name. This must feel like $1 million.
Yeah, I know. It definitely feels good. Unfortunately, we are contested. We figured that out 2 days ago, but we can make the most out of it and see where it goes.
Do you have to train strategy right there in the moment as well? Have you got kind of things planned how you're going to do that quickly on the fly?
Yeah, I mean, when you play with someone like Veno, you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. He's like he's the brain of the duo, so he knows what we're doing.
Okay, and Peterbot as well. I mean, you guys have come into this back-to-back, major champions. You and Poyo have been dominant. I mean, he's smiling over at Clicks. I can see this as well. I can feel it. You must feel amazingly going into this as well. I mean, you guys, eliminations, you guys are strong going into this. How do you feel?
Feel good, and I'm confident, and I think we're going to win.
The raft is looking busy. There's a lot of duos going into the same spot. Is that a good thing for you guys in terms of surge and things? You kind of eager to have that happen and prove right off the bounce that you guys are ready to contend for that title?
Yeah, I mean, like, the 4 teams won't really be an issue for us because, I think we are going to be chilling on our side of raft and get the mythic dog every game. And we'll be seeing Clicks at Forecast.
Will you be going to Forecast? That's the big question. Is that what's going to happen? Clicks, what can you give us in terms of insight from you guys?
I mean, he's going to die off spawn, so there's only going to be one team at Forecast. That's me.
And I want to ask you guys as well.
I think you're triple con, brother. So I don't know if you're going to make it off spawn as well.
I want to ask you guys as well, fighting talk prior to going into this. I'm going to ask you both, keep it clean, obviously. Going into this, what do you want to say to Clicks first, Peter? Anything you want to say to this competitor across the way?
I mean, there's nothing to say. He knows who I am, and he knows he's going to lose off spawn. And if he does make it off spawn, then we'll be at the Forecast.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Clicks,
what is Peterbot on, bro?
Anything you want to say to this fine chap here on the right-hand side?
I mean, he's new to this game. He's only been playing for, 2 years? OG like me, 6 years in, competing in almost every tournament. You already know how it's going to be. Don't even say it. Don't even say it.
The FNCS wins, and you have 0, and you've been playing for an extra couple years.
Clicks, what are you going to say to that?
When you're at the top,
Shit.
stuff happens that you don't want to happen, like shooting out a vending.
I've got one last thing as well before going back to the desk, okay? Is it true, can you confirm right now that next year we're going to see Clicks and Peterbot teaming up side by side?
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. That's the new duo.
That's the new duo. That's out.
And we'll see it 15K a month. I'm down.
You heard it right there. The exclusive together. Peterbot and Clicks. We're going to see it. Back to you guys.
15K a month? What the fuck?
Thank you, Adam, for asking the question we all had on our minds. Thank you so much from that. Yeah, you can already tell this rivalry is building, and we kind of talked about Clicks and Veno. Let's talk about the other side, right? Peterbot and Poyo. These guys have just had a phenomenal year.
Starting it off, getting a second place in Major 1, and then first place in Major 2, and then the back-to-back first place in Major 3.
Absolutely incredible. They were the first NA team to do that since Booga at late Chapter 2, early Chapter 3, right? So they are doing things that we haven't seen for a very, very long time. And I mean, the way that they're doing it as well, each and every season, they seem to put themselves in the best drop spot on the map. We want the best medallion, we want the best weapons as well. I mean, look at that, Major number 2, they have the Dash medallion, Major number 3, they have the Shield medallion, by far the best medallion on the map. Now, again today, landing at the Raft, they are triple, maybe double contested by a couple of other teams. And this medallion, the reveal medallion, is so good. It just reveals all players around you. And for a team that's elimination heavy like these guys, W keying the lobby, it's going to be so vital for them if they can make it off spawn, and that's a big if.
And, well, he wasn't being cocky or arrogant in that moment there. Literally everyone else that's landing on the Raft who have that south, literally
If the nation heavy like these guys,
Bro's posture is awful.
rotate to the launch pad and go for that forecast tower. And also, to say that they won Major 2, the Season 2 run that they had, is putting it lightly. They literally won every single Cash Cup final, as well as one of those Cash Cups getting 6 out of 6 victory royales. It has never been done before, and we may never see it again.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are absolutely incredible. I'm expecting big things from them. They condition the lobby a lot as well in that sort of Major 2, Major 3. That's what they do. They don't like anyone fighting them because nobody likes to fight them. They're not a team that is going to be fighting everyone because they don't want to come to them. They have to go and search for those fights. And that's why I think that reveal medallion is going to be so beneficial for them, because they can just find anyone lurking in different situations. They're not going to get snuck up on. It's playing into their hands right now if they can make it off spawn, which it seems like they have a solid strategy so far, and clearly a lot of confidence as well.
And we're talking about Peter Bot a lot, but Pollo also deserves so much praise.
100%.
A lot of the times we think, oh, Peter Bot's the fragger, but we'll see Pollo with more eliminations, more times than not. He works so well with Peter Bot. Just like you were saying, Clix is the perfect support with Veno. It's the same thing with Pollo to Peter Bot.
You love that breakdown. Now, we've talked about a few duos. Let's bring back up that lobby list. Let's take a look at the next 25 duels we'll be seeing compete here on this weekend. Once again, reminder, 6 regions. We went through 3 different majors, and these are the very best 50 duos in the world. Now, obviously, we've had a few talks. Why don't we talk about Asia, right? Jerome. We've got him paired up with Zago, and these guys are, like, amazing. And of course, Zago coming out with already LAN experience. What can we expect from them?
Yeah, I mean, Sharom and Zago winning that first major over in Asia. And when you think of Sharom, you've got to remember Global Championships last year. Frequently, we talk about the smaller regions now performing well on LAN. Well, that was not the case for Sharom and NK Papa. They got 5th place, beating out some of the biggest teams from NA and EU.
Yeah, that was really impressive. And I mean, Zago himself, he's the only player in Asia to have made the Invitational and last year's Globals. And of course, now he's here today as well. He's a very interesting player to watch because he's always coming up with new strategies, with items and things that other players aren't doing. He's always doing something a little bit different with the items, so he's always a great player to watch. Very big brain player as well. He's going to be leading this duo. Sharome's going to be carrying those the more frags, the eliminations. I mean, both of them will be doing that well themselves, but I think this is a duo we've got to keep our eyes on because they have so much talent.
That's right. Okay, let's go on over to Brazil. I don't know if you guys ever heard of King and Phaser. Not a big deal. They're pretty small duo over here, but you know, these guys are just so fantastic. What do we expect these guys to bring to this stage?
I mean, King, we remember him all the way back from World Cup, and they have so much confidence, really well deserved. And then they tried to take that confidence over to EU. Unfortunately, didn't place that well in Major 1, but then went back into Brazil for Major 2, and then Major 1 reclaiming their spot as the Kings of Brazil.
Yeah, and in that Major 1 in EU, they didn't do the greatest in Grand Finals, but they made it there, and that was the most important thing for them, getting that extra practice. I think they would have liked to have done a little bit better when it came to the Grand Finals. They seemed to switch drops a lot. They relied a lot on solo clutches during that time as well, so hopefully they would have learned from that, bringing that experience to the table. And I mean, this is a duo now that I think could be last minute contested by another team, so it's not something that they were expecting. They're going to have to adapt on the fly.
And if we're talking about solo clutches, we have to talk about what we saw King absolutely doing in the player lounge over the last few days. 1v1ing some of the biggest names of Veno, Flixie, Peter Bot, and winning every single one.
They're looking good, right? They are looking good. And we are drawing closer and closer to starting these games. We wanted to talk about another duo, though. Contested situation, Grand Glacier. We've got Nathan, we've got CZB on one side. On the other side, Herman and Cal Gamer. Being contested, is this POI, is this spot big enough to split?